All right. Are we live? What's going on, guys? It's Will with Stockmate. What if one price target could unlock everything for free? Well, BigBear.AI has been volatile, and we set a $5.50 call target. And if it hits it by May 21st, you get Stockmate for free. That's right, full refund. Some might say that it's too optimistic, but let's take a look at the story for Big Bear and dive into some of the analysis here. Happy Friday. Hopefully you guys are having a great evening. And let me make sure too that we have the live chat pulled up. So BigBear.AI, it's a stock that we started covering here back in October. For those of you guys that been on the channel for a little bit here, you know we started covering it here at about $1 a share. It surged up to $10.50. Let me pull up the live chat here. Make sure you guys could hear and see me okay. And after surging to $10.50, which was an amazing run, where we had an average purchase price of $2.80. We sold portions of it in this huge rise. And then now we're still holding our long-term positions. We see it's recently pulled back. So we're in it and we're watching it now. So we're going to go through the three-part analysis, the full breakdown of the charts, the technicals, and the fundamentals. And let's jump in. So when it comes to BigBear.AI, the chart is telling a story right now with consolidation from left to right. So the support and resistance is looking like very strong support here at around $2.30. We see it bounce here, bounce here, bounce here, and then consolidating, recently pushing up above the 200-day moving average, now showing signs of maybe getting rejected here. You can see this resistance here at about, is there an audio or something like that you guys are hearing? Okay. There we go. At resistance of $3.70. So $3.70 resistance, pretty clear from consolidating left to right. The company has had a lot of tech breakthroughs and some big contracts. I recently got to fly through some different airports and I got to see them firsthand. And I can tell you that their tech is real. It's happening right now. They scanned my face at the airport. And that's just one little sector of their overall business. Their business is actually much bigger than just the airports. And they're getting big contracts. So they started to gain some momentum, consolidating from left to right. We got to play one of these trades back late April from about $2.60 up to about $3.60. Now we're seeing it peak out yesterday or the day before at $4.40 before selling back down. Now, what we're watching here is some widespread sell-off. We could see our SOXS, which is the inverse. It goes up when the market goes down, and semiconductors is up today, which means the market went down. And the market did correct just a tad towards the end of the day. So with Big Bear, the first market move that's exciting is this move here, that it started to push up. It's now maybe getting momentum to be able to hold this new trend. As you can see, there is this new trend here that we can identify that is from here to here to here, and it recently pulled back. So could it get rejected and sell back down to this $2.40 range? Yeah, I mean, that could make sense. But when we're looking at the new trend that's starting to develop with BigBear.AI is something along the lines of this, right? So we're seeing this new trend, and now we could start to see it pull back. And the consensus that I'm kind of looking at here is maybe this move. We start to see it break up into this level, into this $4.60 range again. And that's the trend that's we're starting to develop here. Now, it looks maybe overextended when you look at the resistance, but from a perspective of this pull to bounce right here actually seems quite probable. So that's what we're going to be watching here into the next week. When it comes to BigBear.AI, a lot of big institutions are investing in it, from BlackRock to you got let's just take a look at the institutional holdings. A lot of the companies that invest in Palantir or some of the big space tech and defense companies are investing here in Big Bear. I mean, just take a look here. You got what is that right there? That's 20, is that 29 million, 29 million or more than that? 290 million from BlackRock. You got Vanguard, you got State Streets, Goldman Sachs is investing. These are not small institutions. You got Morgan Stanley, Bishop. Hey, welcome, Bishop. So Bishop says, do you think 3.5 will be the new support? Yeah, so that's kind of the level at which we're watching here. So again, you kind of pointed that, I think you pointed that out before we drew this, but here 355 is that previous resistance level. So just from a chart perspective, right here, this kind of zone, resistance, 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 and that's kind of where it's pulled down to. Now, in a bearish outlook, it does sell back down here, but in the bullish outlook, it uses this as support and then starts to trend and uses the previous resistance as a support. And that's the indication we're looking for, the confirmation we're looking for with BigBear.AI. So yeah, definitely. Paul says 5.5, $5.50. I'm hopeful, but in doubt. Yeah, I mean, by the 20th, that's, it's a bullish outlook. And that's part of the trade. That's part of the of us taking a risk there, and then us also offering the sale that by 520, and we might extend it to 523, but right now it's 520 with our current sale. You get our daily live trading. If it hits that target, you get a full refund on StockMate. And this t-shirt here that I'm wearing, you get it for free when you enroll in lifetime access. So that's exciting. And yeah, sometimes we, all it is I'm investing. Maybe I have this more aggressive approach on an investment, and maybe to hedge against some of my risk, I offer our daily live trading, our market insights for AI and quantum and space stocks, and I say, hey, if you guys want to be a part of StockMate, which is our insights, our daily live trading company, then and watch me see my entries and my exits, then you can get StockMate and I'll refund you if it hits that target. So in other words, if it doesn't hit that target, then you're a StockMate member. Congrats, you get to be a StockMate member. You get our weekly watch list. You get to surround yourself with like-minded individuals. But if it does hit that target, congrats, I made a bunch of money on my calls and I can refund you for joining StockMate. And I think it's kind of a true to play way to every once in a while, if it's things are lining up, we might run a sale like that. So that's kind of the sale there. Yeah. So, and then Bishop says, yo, okay, thank you, bro. I'm new to this, so trying to paper trade first. Paper trading is a great way to build your skills and use even back testing if you can to jump into trades and see in how they perform and simulate trades. It's a great way to do it. So again, the chart's looking there on Big Bear, fairly bullish, but with the recent market pullback, it's still got to hold this previous resistance at about $3.50 for that bullish move to continue on BigBear.AI. But overall, RSI and MACD, as we can see, if we just kind of pull down here to a closer view, the RSI and MACD recently here did pull down, and they're looking more on the oversold side, right? More on the oversold side as of recently, not fully validating that previous resistance, but we'll see how it reacts at market open. So then you have the BlackRock. Why would we see the biggest institutions in the world buying? You got Swiss National Bank, Charles Schwab, buying into this company when it's not even $1 billion market cap? Or did it just pass $1 billion? Is it up there? Is it holding $1 billion right now? BBAI stock. Is it up? Yep, it's holding above $1 billion market cap right now. So that's cool. So Jonathan says, I'm hoping BigBear.AI gets to $20 or $30 by the end of the year. I mean, we haven't seen levels above $10 But in the event that they become, let's say, like they're in airport security, right? Or they're in the space scanning, or they're in the Panama Canal or Border Patrol, and they got some hundreds of millions of dollars in contracts. I like to compare them. If they're at $1 billion market cap, they're kind of in the same market, and I could see them as the same similar market cap, um, minus the market cap of their space sector for Leidos. So Leidos is a $20 billion market cap. They specialize in the same stuff, cybersecurity. You've seen them at the airports probably. They're that machine that you stand and they like run the thing that goes whoop and it like swoops around and scans your whole body. That's Leidos, that company. But they also have some space tech, which probably adds about another 5 billion to their market cap. However, their market cap's at 20 billion. Maybe let's just say in the market they're in, that Big Bear is in, is about a $15 billion market, which if BigBear.AI is at a billion now, just to kind of look at some of their contracts they're pulling in, let's say that they get to a similar level, I think that a $5 to $10 billion market cap could make sense. And that would put them at a $15 to $30 price point. To say they're going to get up into, yeah, that would be 15 to 30, so 20 to $30. So Jonathan, if it's going to happen, those are some of the numbers that would have to happen there. All right, so as you can see, what we're looking at with their recent partnerships, we know they're partnered with Palantir, and with the recent news that they're working with this drone swarm for US Army here, that's another kind of market that is similar to that of Palantir. So that gives them an advantage, I would say, to be in the drone market. I'm not worried about them diversifying a little bit here because we know that they're already securing their contracts, and we've seen firsthand that their tech is real world usage and it's being used at the borders and at different airports. So I know, like, I could pull up an image of our last trip that we took where I was flying through the airport and they scanned my face. It's legit. I have their logo and everything. Anyway, so I could see it, I could feel it. That's something about the market, right? When you're looking at the market analysis, before you maybe look at the financials, you're looking at the news, you jump into the charts. Before you even do that, a lot of times you're saying, what does the market look like? And when it comes to AI overlapping with defense technology, it's a market that is growing very fast year over year. So the idea is that from the start, you pick a market that's growing. So Big Bear is in a market that's growing. And then the second piece of analyzing the market that's going to put you at an advantage is to really identify that there's real usage. Not just that it's trending, not just that people are talking about it more, not just that there's more coverage online or more news articles, but that there's real world usage and you could see it, you could feel it. Maybe this is a Warren Buffett saying. He says, most of the time I don't invest in something, or he says the best investments question that I'll ask people, is it gonna change the way that I chew gum? Is that I'm pretty sure that's exactly what it says. Change the way I chew gum, Warren Buffett. Let's see. And I spelled it wrong. There you go. Did he say that? Do I think the internet is going to change how people chew gum? So that's how he's like, that's why I made the investment in the internet. And so someone said, how did you know? What was the Apple play? Why did you get into it? He says, if something's going to change the way you chew gum, then I might look at it. When I was getting my face scanned by Big Bear at Denver International Airport, I was flying back from a space tech conference. They're scanning my face and they said, please hold still, sir. If I'm chewing gum at that moment, I'm not going to be able to keep chewing my gum. I got to stay still or what have you. I actually saw it and I thought to myself, I was laughing to myself while I'm walking on the airplane. And I'm thinking to myself, it is changing the way that people chew gum. Isn't that funny? So, all right. So then you get into it, the financials. You take a look at it. They're starting to look good. They just really cut down the debt in that last quarter from the quarter four, and then revenue increase or still increasing year over year. So quarter over quarter, they're okay. Yoshi says still holding some bags there at $4.50 for Big Bear. I think you'll be all right, brother. But again, reassess the plan. If you're, if you're in it short term, then that's obviously something where it's like you got to look at the risk. How did you manage it? Where did it go wrong? If you're in it for the long term, you don't really have too much to worry about. BigBear.AI has the type of numbers and contracts that they're getting that in my eyes would put them in a $5 to $7 range in the near future. So I wouldn't worry too much. And Paul says, yes, I'm at 425. Okay, you guys just above there. Yeah, it's funny, I don't know when you guys entered, but the other day, was it on May 14th, we're sitting there, we get live, we're going live in our market daily live session in StockMate. I open up here, it's 6:30 a.m. or what have you, and all the stocks are Christmas green. We're just a little bit of red here and there, but just green off the board. Everything's green, and everybody's looking at Big Bear, and we're saying, whoa, look at this. It was right here when it spiked at 6 a.m. up to $4.37, and we're saying, oh my gosh, look at this. At that moment, I said, the market is very overbought right now. And we, instead of getting excited and buying the top around this 420 or 437 or whatever, I personally entered a trade with SOXS, this trade right here, that's up about 6.4% since we entered it there, because the market was a little overbought at that moment. It was really rallying up, and it seemed like there was some accumulation, and we're getting ready for that distribution. We're getting ready maybe for some manipulation to happen, where they're going to see the hedge funds might have scheduled orders right at market open, and everything's looking crazy, but we started to see a couple orders kick in. I'm like, oh, it's not looking good. So we went and bought the inverse of the market, and that's how we were able to capitalize on the swings and still make 20% this week. The other big one was LAZR today, which is another AI and LiDAR company. That one's interesting. Paul says, something is prepared and cooked, says Yoshi. Yeah, we're having some steak tonight for Friday nights. I was going to the restaurants recently. I was like, let's just buy some steak. So Tammy and I, my wife and I, are making steak. We enjoy that. What are you guys having for dinner? Comment down below. Someone's gonna be like, I'm at a restaurant having steak. I got this recipe. It's really good. Big Bear YouTube channel, Paul says. No, this is not Big Bear's YouTube channel, although we do cover it quite often. Jonathan says 281. Let's go, Jonathan. You're right there, 1 cent above my average price. Yeah, so that's a great entry from 281. That return on investment that we're at is to current price right now is a 25% increase. At one point, you're up about 57%. But yeah, we'll see if it holds this trend as of right now. And what was that other one that Yoshi says good for you? That's a nice entry point. Yeah, that's super good for sure. All right, so then you look at the financials again. So we were really kind of worried about the debt that they had, and that was back before they reported December 2024 earnings. And we're saying, their debt's not so hot. They went and paid off the debt aggressively, and the net income went down, or the net income dropped huge, negative 146 million, and that wasn't a good earnings. That was a oh shoot moment. But then they kept their revenue still strong, up 5% year over year, and then slimmed down the net income. So now their net income there was about negative 61, and they're almost debt free now. So they got that going for them. They got increased employees that we're seeing, so they are hiring. And then I think one of the underrated things, not just the investments from institutions, but how about this? This one is, I've seen people say they will, it's not the same thing. It's different. But this business alliance with the Panama International Forum, I don't know why it's not letting me click that link for some reason. Maybe I need to search it on Google. Let's see. There it is. And like this article states that they are a leading provider of AI powered decision intelligence solutions for national security, travel, and trade. And they announced its invitation to participate in the Business Alliance for Secure Commerce in Panama 2025 International Forum. Now, it's this event. It's on logistics, finance, maritime operations. But just to kind of look at this, it says navigating Panama's maritime logistics future. All I'm going to say about this that I think is a big thing. We could just see what the CEO says, but I believe that this means if they're getting involved in supply chain, they're getting involved maybe over in the let's say the part of the industry, the part of the market that is in Panama. Now let's just take a step back, right? They're at the ports of entry, they're at the airports with their facial scanners, they're at the Department of Defense, the Pentagon, and also with Border Patrol and Homeland Security. And so they're really deep, right, in a lot of these different government. And then they come in, and this is what the CEO says: BigBear.AI looks forward to contributing our expertise during discussions on port modernization, supply chain security, and the regulatory shifts shaping global commerce. This event marks an important step in fostering cross-sector cooperation and identifying actionable strategies for a safer, more agile international trade environment. So they don't mention it, and this is a stretch, and this is just where my mind goes immediately, is they recently had the did you guys see, how many of you guys saw that BlackRock purchased the ports in Panama to secure those ports and own them? I think it was what, 10 or 20 billion dollars that they paid. And then China's saying, what happened, Panama? You sold out to the US company BlackRock. And people are getting worried. They're like, oh, BlackRock's in control and all this. But I would say they're a US company, and the US is looking to control more of the Panama canals as they lost some of that foothold that they had back in the past in building the Panama Canal and going through all that. That China had their foot in the door there. So hey, maybe we go there. What do you guys think? Oh, it already happened. Dang it. Next time. It says April 29th, 2025. Panama City. Next time we'll do it. It already happened. That's an interesting one. Okay, so I'd actually really like to go because I have a friend in Panama. Tammy and I have been wanting to go there for a while, so we're gonna make that happen at some point. Yoshi says, do some dollar cost averaging when there's a dip. Do it smart and you'll cut your entry point. Of course, it needs time, money, and patience. Don't despair, and one day it will go up and stay there. I like that perspective for the long-term approach for BigBear.AI. And if we just kind of hide all the drawings, we take a step back, we're really in a nice market cap build. I mean, just a few days or a few months ago when we were covering them, they were at $1.50, and they surged up to 10.50 in that run, and they've now found a nice support as we kind of mapped out if we do show the drawings, and now they're maybe starting to trend upwards. This is the 3 stages to a reversal, right? You have the initial stage of the trend down, then you have the consolidation phase, and then you have the reversal in the opposite direction. And how you validate the reversal is that when it breaks out of that consolidation, that whether it breaks out above or below the consolidation, depending on if it's a reversal on the top or a reversal on the bottom, that then once it breaks out of it, it then revalidates it before continuing in the reversal direction. So it just broke out way above that resistance. Now it's revalidating it down here at $3.50. And if it does validate it and it can hold that through this next week in that zone, I could see it even maybe as low as 339, that it would show signs of a reversal there. So that's a good point there. Joseph says, just joined. It's 6:47 a.m. in Israel. Could you please expand on KULR? I bought it after watching your videos. I got some good feelings about it. Yeah, so KULR is a stock that's, when it comes down to the market that they were in, it was quite an exciting market. And I say was because some of the things that happened with that stock changed our outlook. Originally, they were space tech, specifically working with NASA, and they had some batteries that they were selling for space tech that were thermal resistance, made up of this carbon composite that was highly resistant to extreme temperatures. And they ended up selling them to NASA and doing some deals. But recently, they were paying SpaceX to go up into space, and SpaceX delayed that SpaceX rideshare mission another year. So their rideshare got delayed. Then they made an announcement that they're allocating 90% of cash to Bitcoin, which is okay, but it wasn't really, it shouldn't be their main focus. And they spent a lot of time really, really focusing on it, which is okay. But then you ask, well, why not invest 90% of surplus cash back into product? Why not? And so their product looked a little shaky. Then they came in with a big negative net income in their last earnings. So that paired with the fact that they entered some other markets like robotics, that was a robotics product that wasn't theirs, that they were selling for another company or something. It wasn't the best entry. And then they also started this announcement with blockchain, supply chain. And for me, it's just too many things. And so for that reason, I'm not in a bullish sentiment with the stock right now. When it comes down to the reality of their potential, it's all kind of just, you could get into it, have a plan, or even hold or look for the long term. But the reality is that they're pretty much a wild card. Could they surge to $5? Yes, they could. Absolutely. You know what happens? Like MicroStrategy did the same thing. Like people don't expect it. So could it happen? Absolutely. But time and time again, like when I've done analysis on companies, if they start to do too many things, it kind of shows me that the thing that they were doing isn't working as well, or they're just spreading themselves too thin. And so for that reason, I just have lost interest. Like it's been this slow progression of like, oh, but I'm not interested. I've just lost investment interest like at this time to put money into it. However, when it comes to some of the companies that do expand, it's okay if you expand if you have the sectors and the markets. Does that make sense? Like, do you kind of understand the thought process there for KULR? Does that make sense? Just want to make sure, Joseph, you kind of get that. So basically, like if it's Apple and they say we're going to do Apple Pay and we're going to do the iPad, and then we're going to do the iPad Pen and the iPad or the iPhone keyboard, and then we're going to do the Magic Mouse, and then we're going to do something else. Like that's fine because they got thousands and thousands and thousands of employees, but KULR has 50 employees. So to see them expand, just really, it's I would say it's something that gets you a little nervous. So that's what's going on there. Yeah, okay. You did good. Yeah, appreciate that. Thanks so much, guys. Appreciate it. So BigBear.AI at the end of the day is starting to maybe break out of this trend finally, as we see it maybe validate here before continuing up. And Poe says, I jumped in at $2.65 a share. That's awesome. I mean, what is that return from 265? That's a return of about 34%, 35%. So great trade. I'm glad you're able to do that, Poe. Awesome. And then please don't do that. You're going to regret it in 3 to 6 months. If you don't need those funds, then it's waiting time. So someone said, yeah, just hold on like to Big Bear. Don't worry about like the volatility. I've held personally, we've traded it on a day-to-day basis, oftentimes in our daily live sessions. But at the same time, we've actually held our $2.80 position up to $10.50 and back down to where it was, and now being up in profit. So I could tell you I have conviction on the long term for that. Please don't. So someone says, what's good with SoundHound? Yeah, that's an interesting one. I don't know. I heard that they recently were potentially going to be the main AI voice company for McDonald's. I don't know. Have you guys heard about that? Maybe we could look that up. Um, but when it comes down to their stock, I actually haven't looked at it in a few days. Paul says, nope. I'm hopeful now winning BBAI. Thanks, man. Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, we can take a quick look at SoundHound just because I haven't covered it. Let's see how it looks. This was the last analysis that we did on it. This chart. And we said it's uptrending. We probably said it's at the support. And maybe from there it consolidated. It took longer to make that move. And then you can see it did actually continue from there. From our last analysis in the uptrend, which was about right here, it's up about 20%. At one point it was up 40. So it is in an uptrend right now. It does look like it's maybe on its way back down. As you can see, there is this overall uptrend. You know, could it like reverse and continue up right now? I think absolutely it could. But what might be more likely for SoundHound at this moment would be actually pulling down to the moving average, this previous resistance here. If it's going to maintain some bullish momentum, I think a healthy pull down to this $10 range here. It's at 10.70, so maybe down to about $10 here. As you can see, it recently broke below the EMA, so looking a little more bearish on the near term, and it's selling down. Could it bull up? It's possible. It does have this support here at $10.50, and so you just kind of got to weigh the risk there. I think with that potential down, it's about 4% for it to sink more. The upside is about 18% there, so maybe a tad bit more of an upside than downside, but still in a spot where I would wait for a little bit more of a reversal. Nevertheless, if you do get in it, you know, just having a plan, that's the chart side of things. We've seen it build its market cap, and it's really starting to recover recently. When it comes to SoundHound, I haven't seen their recent earnings actually. Let me take a look at their recent earnings. $4 billion market cap, and the financials are showing signs of growth. Wow. So in their recent earnings, they came in $129 million cash, net income, cash. That is new for SoundHound. We've seen SoundHound really sell down recently before this run because their net income was holding negative. Their revenue was kind of increasing, but their net income was negative $250,000. Then they turned it around and came in up $130 profit in their last quarter. So their profit margins 446%. They came in 256% up year over year. So earnings per share do make a lot of sense there. Apparently they missed their revenue target as it did decrease a bit there. So with their net income being what it is, it seems that they might have been able to capitalize on some of the recent moves and some of their contracts that we saw them coming up with. So when it comes down to sound, you could see the revenue, you could see the reality of the company is that they do have the revenue increasing. Their holdings include Vanguard, BlackRock, you got Bank of America, State Street, and UBS, Goldman Sachs. Yeah, you got some of the biggest hitters in the world investing there. And yeah, when it comes down to the recent news, there was some good stuff happening that we were kind of waiting on. We're saying, are they going to get this? Are they going to get this partnership here with McDonald's? Because that's actually one of the ones where I was like, well, if they get that, that's crazy. Because imagine how many drive-throughs. Like, I feel like that's huge. So if we take a look at their industries, they got resources. You can head over to about. newsroom for investors. Looks like they're working with a lot of companies. That's all they're like doing is closing these deals here. AI tech, automotive. They're working with Hyundai and the in-car AI systems. When it comes to maybe their investor stuff here. Yeah, let's see. 80% of US drivers rather order food in-car voice assistant than wait at a drive-through. So that's a $63 billion opportunity that they're tackling right now. And they're starting to really get some of those contracts with not just the restaurant industry, but the car and auto industry as well. So yeah, they were also spotlight at AI innovation at GTC, NVIDIA's event in 2025 back there in March. So overall trend looks good. A little bit of a sell down maybe in the near term, but overall looking good. And their revenue came in very nice. And now another run like they had similarly back here towards the end of 2024 would seem, I would say, have a higher probability of happening with their recent financials coming in the way that they came in. All right, guys. So thanks so much for tuning in. I appreciate you all. I'm going to let you guys know the first link down below is a link to our virtual stock trading class. If you guys want the full breakdown on how we pick markets, how we invest in the most profitable markets from AI to quantum computing to space tech and defense companies like BigBear, the first link down below is our virtual stock trading system. Feel free to take a look. It's about an hour long. It's a full class. And actually, one of the cool offers there is you get stock meet for free when you enroll in that system. And I would love for you guys to be there at Market Open. If you guys want to join us in our daily live sessions each day at Market Open, we got a huge sale for stock meet. It's the second link in the description to join us at 6:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time tomorrow at Market Open. So if you're maybe thinking about investing in some of these markets that I'm mentioning, you like the analysis style that we go through, and in the past 3 months, I've averaged about 22%. So overall, our account's making some consistent gains, and I share all my entries and my exits. If you want to see them at Market Open in our daily live trading, it's the second link below. Would love to have you there in stock meet. So if I earned your thumbs up, hit the like button. Thank you guys so much for watching, and do consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Happy Friday. See you guys.